everybody to the Black Family Talk. My name is Hamid.
And I'm Brother Eugene.
And I'm Sean Jones. Peace.
And I'm Dennis Graham.
All right, so tonight we got a show dealing with what is the description that comes to mind when we think of what is a man and what is a woman. Because we all got our perceptions and our own ideas, because everybody thinks they know what a man should do, what a woman should do, what roles they should play. And, you hear it a lot. You ain't a man. So the question for tonight is, what is a man? So tonight we have a guest on the show, my brother Dennis Graham. And what we like to do is allow our guests to introduce themselves and let the people know who they are and what they have going on. So let the people know who you are.
Okay, for everybody listening tonight, we want to say hello, and I want to thank everybody for having me on the show this evening. Again, my name is Dennis Graham, and I started the Clipperdome Chronicles. It came from my sports barbershop. I started in Detroit, Michigan in 1993. It was the first recorded sports barbershop in the United States. So we had that one going on, and we took that sports theme, and 20 of them opened up in the city, and there are now a couple hundred around the country. So that's where this all kicked off. So after the barbershop, I started writing down some of the information that was coming into the shop from what the men were saying. So after I was writing it down, I wanted to see if it would stay consistent, so we started recording it. So then after we recorded it and wrote it down, we found we had a consistent message. So then I went down the street to my hair salon, and I did the same thing with the ladies. First we wrote it down, then we recorded it. The message stayed consistent. Then I wanted to see how could we bridge the gap in communication, since communication is lost in translation. So because our relationships are hurting, so how can we bridge this gap between men and women? That's how all this started.
Bruh, welcome.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you one thing. First of all, where you from, man?
Detroit, Michigan.
You from Detroit,
Yes,
right? How long you been in Nashville?
I got here in 08.
And
Yes, sir.
you said the
Clipperdome Chronicles, like the Superdome, Metrodome, the Clipperdome
Chronicles.
Yes,
all right, so you initiated a men's group, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
well, the barbershop is a men's group. Yes, sir.
The barbershop is a men's group.
Absolutely.
All right, and the subject tonight, we're talking about what is a man and what is a woman.
Yes.
All right. Do you have a different definition of a man than what we normally what they?
I don't know how different it will be, but what I avoid is my opinion, because I am not that intelligent, I'm not that smart, and I'm not that well read.
You know what?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Since we're talking about opinions,
yes,
I just want to say that.
Yes, sir.
I had to throw this in here because the people know. All right. All of the opinions that are said on the Black Family Talks are that of the Black Family Talks and not of WVOL.
Yes, sir.
All right. Going to say
there you go. Right. Okay. So when I say opinion, we're used to a lot of people going off of their feelings and their beliefs nowadays, no matter what the topic is. I've taken out 10 years to research the information so that I could get down to some more core understanding of what a man and a woman is based off of people's opinions. Now, if you get a consistent opinion 100,000 times in a row, it's no longer an opinion. It becomes a fact.
So you don't give your opinion, you give fact.
That based off of researched information from my forums that I hold. I interview women with only PhDs, then women with only bachelor degrees, then women that are only blue collar, and on down the ladder, the same thing with the men. So then once we break them up into groups, we'll get the differences and see the consistent message from the different groups.
Interesting. That's quite interesting. So when I think about what a man is, just basically, number one, I just go back to I go back to the Genesis, actually, the Genesis account where God created man, in God's own image. So man is created in the image and likeness of God, or I would say humanity, because God created both man and woman,
Absolutely.
Male and female. So, but then we have definitions, we have people running around saying, I'm a man.
Right.
But then we understand that being a man, and you can be a male.
Yes, sir.
Right, a male,
Yes, sir.
But being a male, so you're saying being a male does not make you a man. being a man is a whole nother.
It's a title.
It's a title.
It's not a gender. Okay, so when they tell you the man,
I mean, not technically it is a gender.
yes, no, wait, well, wait, hold on, let's be clear. Because of where we are in this climate, I'm going to clarify, but I have to start off from the first grade so we can go to the PhD level.
Start
okay?
off at kindergarten.
Yes, sir. There we go.
Kindergarten.
So now, when I say it's not a gender, it's a title, I'm saying that in the context of when you 25 or 30 and your father tell you to man up, or your wife tell you to man up, it is a title that can be given or taken away. A woman to say, you not a man, because she can give or take that title away.
Or we've made it a title.
Yes, sir. Yes, exactly.
We've
There
made
you
it
go.
into
Exactly.
You know,
I
so
agree.
actually we've
I
minimized what really a man and
There
a
you
woman
go.
is by, you know, flippantly,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
using it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, let me jump in here.
Come on in there,
Because,
brother.
You know, sometimes I heard you say they can take that away, but the reality is, if a man is actually being a man, a woman can't take that title away.
I agree.
And
I totally agree.
Brother Sean, he came from his belief system, but I come from my belief system, which is Islam, and it is that men are the protectors and maintainers of women. And so when you do that job effectively and correctly, then the woman that you are maintaining, the woman that you are protecting, and when I say protecting, so a lot of times we think about just standing guard, physical guard, but protecting could be mentally, it could be physically, it could be socially, it could be so many different ways. And so, you know, so when we look at it from that standpoint, when you do that, then that she can't say, oh, he's not a man. She can say it, but the reality of it would be he is a man because he's doing what men do. Now I understand, like you were saying, the climate that we live in, because the climate that we live in have so many, and you know what, this may make some people angry, but tonight I'm on a path, so I don't care. All right,
Do that.
so it may make people angry, but you know, too often, I feel like as a society we're getting away from manhood, and you hear people talk about toxic masculinity and all these crazy
A lot of stuff, yeah.
things.
Yeah.
When the fact is, you know, we have men and we have women,
Right.
and if we played our roles, or we played the roles that we are supposed to play, then all the other talk kind of just fizzle away. But right now we're trying everybody want to try new things, and we're trying new things. But we should also look at, when you try new things, you're going to get new results. And so when I think of a man, I think about the men that have come 100 years before, 1,000 years before, 1,000,000 years before that, and they're the same men. But today, people want to make it something totally different. I know we're going to get some people that disagree.
That's okay.
But once again, at this point, you know, at this point in my life, it doesn't matter if people agree with me or not, because it just matters for me how I live my life, and I try to live it in a good way. So.
You know what? Let me, because if we do get some folk that disagree, I sure want to hear it.
That's okay.
So give us a call here at WVOL Studios at 615-227-1470. 615-227-1470.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I want to get a definition of
Yeah.
what they say a man is from the statistics and the research. Now, again, you can call in and we want to add to this information. If anybody can grow it, it is not set in stone. This is just what we've gathered up to this point. We are here to complement, not compete. We don't compete with the facts. We want to get the research. We want to get the consistent message so we can start giving this to the family. So a man, the definition of a man from what we've gathered, is a mental, spiritual, and physical responsibility. Mentally knowing that he needs to have counsel around him that is wiser than he is. Maybe it's an elder, or maybe it's an education. It could be an education from the fundamentals of experience in life, or it could be from a formal education.
Academic, yeah.
Yes, or academics. Now then spiritually, of course, he needs to know that there is a power that governs his life that's of a spiritual nature, that is not of this earth. Okay? A creator.
Something greater than
yes,
himself.
Absolutely. And now, so the mental, the physical is the protection and the provision, like Brother Hamid said, of our women and children. So those are just the basics right there. But that is the title. And again, in this society is given away or is taken. That's why we're coming from that context, because what Brother Hamid said is what it is, but that's not what we are living.
goes for a lot of people.
Yes, sir.
That's true. That's true.
And y'all did touch
That's
on the concept of gender, but the way I understand it, gender is just the roles that they so-called give a person. You know, like women do the dishes, men take out the trash.
I would say gender is that anatomy. You know,
Sexual orientation.
That's sexual. That's sexual orientation.
That's why I was saying gender roles.
Oh, gender roles. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said ginger rolls. I was.
You get hungry.
You and this
You
food
know what I was
kicking.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so when it comes to these concepts and definitions and titles, so when we have a situation to where if you look around the world, they have different cultures.
Yes, sir.
So they're going to have different concepts of what the man or the male is supposed to represent. Is that something that do you believe that will alter what you've gathered if we was to start pulling from different walks of life? Or do you think that there will somewhere have a consistent line amongst all walks of life?
Okay, now that's a beautiful question. So now we have surface and we have core. You know, it's different layers to the earth. On the surface, it's all the same. You got dirt, then you go down to the rock, and then you may hit water and oil. So the deeper you go to the core, the more consistent it'll be. Once you change the environmental or geographical area, then you will change the land mass, right? So if you go somewhere where it's really cold, you might have snow. You go somewhere it's really hot. So yes, that would change it on the surface. But at the core of a man and a woman, there are no differences in general. No matter what the social, economic, religious background is, the core is the same.
Okay, so
in general.
Does it follow with responsibilities?
Absolutely.
And because, you know, every household, the man of the house has different responsibilities.
Yes, sir.
And they're not always consistent because we have a butt for every seat.
Yes, sir.
So whatever's good is going to be represented, whatever's bad going to be represented. So when it comes to giving somebody if it's going to be a title, it's almost like, you know, you able to wear it on your chest, because if you're not a man, you can't walk around with it on your chest.
That's right.
So when it comes to that, do we allow people who don't measure up to become one? Or is there something that eliminates a person automatically and period?
See, we're boundless and endless. There are no rules. There is no order. When we come to a red light, no matter what your social, economic, or cultural difference is, red is stop, yellow slow down, green is go. When you change the rules and the order, and it's going to get chaotic. What you said is spot on. But we cannot live by that because everybody wants to make their own rules when it is convenient for them in their situations.
Yeah, and because with all of this going on with these groups that have their own groups set aside from the rest of us,
Yes, sir.
who may share the same body features and parts,
Yes, sir.
but choose to go about life with a different mindset.
Yes, sir.
Now, is that where the line cuts when we talk about whether or not that you're a man? Is that when we start talking about that, you know, they're men and males?
Okay.
Oh my.
Let me be clear. When you research something, you cannot step outside of your research because then you do not have any conclusive research to back up your theory. I don't research those. So I do not expound on things that I do not know.
Understand.
What I do know is what I have researched, and I can expound on that thoroughly.
Okay. So when it comes to being a woman,
Yes, sir.
what have we came up with?
Okay. A woman is a caregiver and a nurturer. She is the first teacher. She is virtuous in her stance. So the caregiver, being a nurturer, being virtuous, because she is spiritual and mental as well. But she is the balance of the man, because the Creator gave us the direct opposite of everything. He gave us light and dark. He gave us rich and poor. He gave us hot and cold. And He gave us male and female. She is the balance. So for my sisters who hold the power, and the brothers know this, I say this all the time. The woman is the spine. If the man is the head, take your spine away from the head. That is the central nervous system that connects everything to the body from the head. Without the spine, you are nothing as a head. It is not she's less than. She is the ultimate assistant, the massive assistant.
Oh my.
Okay, so
Oh my.
and I'm glad that we have. Oh, that's
Spoke a lot of
wonderful.
Y'all need to call in.
Now, so we have a lady here.
Yes, sir.
Miss Keosha.
How you doing, Miss
Now,
Keosha?
with what you've just heard, that when we look at the definition of a woman, do you have any rebuttal to it?
No, because I feel like we're strong. I'm not gonna say we're stronger than men. Physically, we're not, but mentally, we are.
Okay. So
Because y'all don't think like y'all just.
What you mean we don't
she
think?
just said it flat out. We
Let
don't
her speak,
think.
brothers. It's okay. It's all right.
Like
It's
we
all
have
right.
remorse, like for
It's okay.
like we have remorse for anything we do. Like we gonna think, kinda first, and y'all just gonna instantly do it. Y'all not gonna really think about it, and then y'all feel y'all remorse after. So
Now I'm gonna disagree,
and why is
and
that?
let me tell you why. Because I believe that's a certain type of man. I believe that men
That's all men.
no. Men develop in stages, just like women develop in stages. So now, for me, I'm not going to just go out here and do something and not think about it. I'm going to think about it
That's right.
first. You
That's
know,
a man.
and because that to me, that's what a man is. Now, if let's say if I'm 19 and I'm out living, then I'm going to go out here. I'm gonna turn up. You know, they have those sayings, you only live once. But yeah, you that's right, and that can end at the age of 19. So, you know, as an older man, as you get older and you get more throughout your life, you do think. You do stop and say, you know what? I'm gonna think about my family. I'm gonna think about my wife before I do this. I'm gonna think about my children. I have
So
children.
that's 50%.
Well, no. I think it's stages.
That's 50%.
You know what?
I feel
what
like
you
we become men, like moms all over again. Because we have to do everything. Like all over again.
You know what?
And y'all need to appreciate that.
I'm inclined to go with we have stages of development.
Yeah.
You know, and I believe that you can be a man, and you're a man. You can be an irresponsible man. You can be a, you know, this kind of man, but you still a man. You
That's
know,
true.
and the same with the woman. You can be an irresponsible woman, but there are stages of development. There are
That's
stages.
true.
You know, I don't know if I subscribe, brother, to the ideology that it's like a title. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I feel like roles have switched. Like growing up, I feel like men took ownership. They took their role as being men, as being kings. Now I feel like they just, like we have took the role. So that's why the younger youth, far as younger boys, are battling different things like sexuality and just different things, because men not playing their roles no more. Like they letting women go work while they sit at home. Like it's just it's different. So
What are you
like
doing that at?
I'm just saying all times have changed. Like when your parents were growing up, my parents were growing up, me growing up, like it's different. I feel like men need to take their role as leaders, as kings, as whatever. Like I feel I'm stronger than certain men.
Okay, so in the context, so brother, you're right. Like you said, you want to challenge the title, right?
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know
so
if I-
there you go.
Yeah.
Now understand that's in context. That's in context of where we are today, not where we should be. So now, if you take the best general practitioner known to man, he or she is in all the medical journals. They've written these, they did these publications. They've done great research. This is the best general practitioner in the world. When you have a heart problem, even they have to send you to a specialist. That does not diminish nor take away from the context of them being the best in their field.
Right.
But they don't specialize in the heart. So the cardiologist is not going to have to step in. We, as people in general, we know who we are and what we see, but I specialize in this information, so I'm going to have a little bit more knowledge than the average person. So when we put it in context of just an everyday person, I can have a conversation that's going to supersede that general practitioner. So, but then you're going to have to get a little more information so we can have a conversation.
So What are you saying?
I'm saying that the title, I like that you challenged it, but I can't have a core conversation with people who are on the surface, because the translation, the communication gonna get lost in translation. You can't. A cardiologist cannot teach a general practitioner how to perform that surgery.
So let me ask. So let me say this. I challenge the concept.
Okay.
Yeah, I challenge the concept that man is just a title. I challenge that because it's not just a title. It's not true.
No, it's not.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's why I challenge it. That's why I don't. You know. And so I'm trying to understand the context in which you speak. You know. So what is the context? You know, what is the context in which you speak?
Me, you, and I, all the fellas in here, we have the sister with us today. We could have a totally different conversation if she step out this room and I start cutting hair in the barbershop. The context changes. What we're going to say and what we mean changes when she walks out that door. We're on the radio. We're on the air. That's going to change the context in which I am speaking. But I'm telling you, if I was to sit down with you, if you are married or if you are single, and help you with your woman, we're going to have a different conversation.
So help me understand. Yeah, help me understand. And I'm going to
But women
be
have
quiet.
the same conversations
Exactly.
as men, like.
In the hair salon, I understand.
Because like in our minds a little, we feel, you know, dominant.
Yeah.
Even if you're married or single, the conversation is different.
Absolutely.
That's true. That's true. And maybe it's just me. It's always just me. But do help me to understand exactly why you say that's a title, what that means, and what should we be doing about that? What relevance is that statement?
It's it's 10 years of research. So if this is an hour show, there's no way I could disseminate that information in an hour. So I have to start off slow, because there are some people riding in their car or sitting at home who's going to hear this information for the first time.
And they want to hear it.
Yes.
They want to hear
but
the answers to what I've just asked.
It is knowledge versus experience. We could teach our children.
But we're talking about other things. And what? You know, here I go.
Okay, go ahead. Come on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But what I specifically don't, I don't have that knowledge that you speak of. You know, and from where you gathered it from, I don't believe that I have that. So, as someone who doesn't have that, and we've only got a short period of time, help me to understand.
Okay, so here, let's do this. I have YouTube videos. There are 34. You can go to YouTube, Clipperdome Chronicles on YouTube. The videos are there. That information is coming from the hair salon and the barbershop, from the men and the women in the African American community for over the last 30 years. So that's where we can start. But to explain it in an hour,
Yes,
sir,
you can't be concise. You can't be.
Well, I gave you the general so we could start the conversation.
Okay.
'Cause we could do this again and again, and it would take us years to even start scratching the surface, because it'll change even within that year. So
And
we
you
have
know
to
what?
readjust.
I really think that, and I'm gonna keep going back to it, because this is just the way I was taught, and this is the way I feel like, from my observing, that this is the way things are. When a man becomes a man, let's say he's turned 18, he is a certain type of man, and really, according to my religious belief, he becomes, say between the ages of 13 and 30. He's the legs, right? He's developing, and he, not only is he developing, but he's the one that's moving community. He's the one that's getting up every day, go to work, doing certain things. And as you grow older, your sensitivities grow more. So now you're hitting 40s and 50s, and you're seeing people out in the streets, and you're noticing that this mother doesn't have diapers for her children, and so now, you know, we gotta set up situations where people can have the things that they need. And then as you grow older, you notice that, you know, people, I'm growing older, but this society may need X, Y, Z. So as people grow, your roles grow. The role of man grows. Different levels of manhood.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
that's what I'm trying to get to. There are different
There you
levels
go.
of manhood.
Yes.
Right.
If you want to,
Okay.
and I see a lot of
Why it
times.
take y'all so long?
But you know what? I don't think it takes a long time. If you look at why does it take when a giraffe comes out, a baby giraffe comes out, in 10 minutes he's walking, running, and playing.
Sure.
So it takes us 18 years to become grown.
Sure.
We develop in stages, and it's not the fact that women are so mature because
I'm not saying
I'm not
share.
But what I'm saying is you all develop in stages as well. Your stage may be a one level quicker. You see, but you all have levels of development as well.
That's true.
And so that's all I'm saying. I think that we should look at those levels of development. Look at where a man is, and don't take a man that's 20 and expect him to behave like a man that's 50. Because
but you can have somebody that's 20 that act as such as they're between 40 and 50.
Exactly.
And you can have a 50-year-old that acts like he's 20 because it happened.
But something happened in that 50-year-old's life. He didn't just start acting like he was.
Well, he was a mama's boy.
No, it's not the fact that he's a mama's boy. Sometimes you can take controlled substances and it will lock you in the place where you were when you first started it.
That's true.
So it's not the fact that he's 50 and he's a mama's boy. It's you look at what happened in his life to make him 50 and not mature the way the other. Now I'll show you an example. You see a 50-year-old man and he's sagging, right? And he got his hat on backwards, and he got on a shirt with gold. It was not the whoopings. He probably got a lifetime of whoopings, but his mental growth
didn't kick in.
It didn't kick in. And so there's a reason, there's a psychological reason for it versus a young man, let's say a young man, how Mr. Graham was just talking about, who you're able to rely on with the knowledge of your grandfather. And you can rely on the knowledge of your father. And you can rely on the knowledge of your brothers in a certain age range as you. And then you can also go back and look at the people that are younger than you. When you have that unbroken chain, those people are far less likely to be deviants and doing those things that young men do than if there was something that was broken somewhere. The problem with us is too many of us have come from broken homes.
That's true.
And because we've come from these broken homes, then you look up, you have broken men who are not behaving like me.
But sometimes you can, but you can have a man that a young boy that had his mom, that had his dad in the household and still be a messed up person.
Well, there is something called choice. There is something called choice.
Well, let's go back to it. Let's talk about the young man who grew up with his mom and his dad, because
that was showed the family. That was showed that this is how you treat a woman. That was showed that, but sometimes you can show a person only so much. That doesn't mean they're gonna do.
But the likelihood, when you look at the people who are in those positions now, where you see that they're lacking, 9 times out of 10 they're coming from a broken situation. These are not whole people. And when I say whole people, I mean like whole in their development. They're not whole people. And so because you may have a mother and a father in the house, but they had a drink. And he come home and he beat mama. And he come home and he cuss out to everybody in the family. He provides, but he's doing these things. That's not a whole man. I was taught this when I was growing up, that a man can't become a man until he respects a man. And if you meet someone and you know that this is a man and he takes care of his responsibilities, he's a whole man, and you don't respect him, you will never be a full man.
That's true.
And there are some young people right now, and you see them. We see them all the time. I don't want to hear that. Some older man telling them, I don't want to hear that. Well, he won't be a man, and he may have to go.
He can't even gain the knowledge.
Yeah, he may have to go to prison. So and somebody make them respect him in order for him to actually begin to see what manhood is about. Manhood is about boundaries and being able to set boundaries, and not just set them, but set them for yourself. As a Muslim, we have to fast 30 days out of the year. So and that's so we can learn self-restraint. There's some things that I want to do, but I know that if I do these things are going to cause havoc. They're going to wreak havoc in my community. They're going to wreak havoc with my family. And since they're going to wreak havoc, I know that the boundary that I set for myself is I won't do it. If I know that if I don't take care of my children, it's going to wreak havoc on their lives. So I set a boundary. And I know that, hey, I'm going to go out and I can't eat until I know that my children are eating. I can't sleep under a roof until I know my children. That's what makes man. That's why when we say men are the protectors and maintainers, that's a true statement.
Okay, so again, we're touching on a lot. It's such a vast subject. You want to try to narrow it down, and you want to stay specific to your target, what you want to hit. No matter what you say, at the end of the day, it has to work. Everybody has an ideology and a theory. Does it work? Is it practical? You should be able to take what you're saying, write it down, and follow that plan step by step to a certain point and be successful. Not just using words or using an opinion or belief to get where you think you want to go. Because we are hurting, I have tested and tried this. You could take it and test it. It works. But it's a lot of information, and we're going to have to take our time because it is a process. So back to what Brother Hamid said. He is correct. It is levels. So I start off with a young man in high school. Most people don't make the high school basketball team. That's a level. So the best basketball players from high school move on maybe to D1 school. That's another level. Then the ones that make it through D1 may go to the pros. That's another level. But they may sit on the bench in the NBA and never start. That's a level.
That's true.
And then if you make it to MVP, that's a level. And then you go to the Hall of Fame. Each one of those are different levels. But they all play basketball and they do well with it. So being a man, like he said, being a boy means somebody has to take care of you. You have no discipline and no direction and no guidance. A young man is starting to understand discipline, guidance, and self-respect. A man is a spiritual, mental, and physical responsibility. A mature man separates priority from preference.
That's true.
It's elevations
But
and
it
it's different
also,
levels.